think people should be able to say anything on sites like Twitter and never ban anyone. Maybe the way they enforce their terms of service is really the problem. I don't know. The Twitter thing is interesting because I think the speech has to be free if you're interested in hearing the best ideas. But the thing about Twitter is that basically a bunch of like really shitty people specifically like kind of took over Twitter, and like they kind of broke Twitter, and they kind of like specifically exploited Twitter's free speech policy. So that's an interesting argument against free speech is if you get enough people that specifically hack the system to where it's basically now just a bunch of like harassment and nonsense on Twitter. That's an interesting argument against the whole free speech thing that Twitter was trying to do. But like I said, if you're interested in hearing the best ideas, then speech has to be free, because if it's not, then people who happen to be offended by the best ideas will just ban those ideas, or do their best to silence them. But I think you have to have, I think the problem with Twitter is Twitter's, at least when Twitter started, that their idea about free speech is even more radical than how America has their own free speech. Because, for example, Twitter basically said that, like specifically harassing and threatening people was fine. Basically, in the beginning, that was their policy. And even in America, that's not okay. Even in America's law, that's not okay. So maybe that was part of the problem. Don't you think everyone gets harassed on Twitter? No matter your opinion, if you express it on Twitter, you're going to get people calling you a dumbass for saying it. Well, some people definitely get harassed more than other people. But the idea that it should be normal for you to just be harassed and threatened all the time, I think is flawed. Like, when you go out in the world, you shouldn't be harassed and threatened and called a dumbass every day. And you shouldn't online either. Is regulating harassment on Twitter even possible? It's definitely possible, but they're gonna have to go back on their whole free speech thing. Like, if you look at Facebook is like super anal about harassment and any kind of transgression. Like, you can get banned on Facebook for just being a little mean to people,